Welcome to the Go Commando Show. I am your host, Fred Galvin, a retired Marine Corps major. The purpose of this podcast is to reveal the naked truths about three core areas that we will be investigating. And the first is on health. This will be provided from a very wide variety of traditional and non-traditional medical perspectives, where you will be able to make your own decision on what may be a good practice for yourself. The second is on the topic of leadership, and that will be compiled from various interviews with professionals in the arenas of business and government, nonprofit, and athletics. And finally, the third topic we will cover is the tough one on overcoming adversities. And these are from real-world examples told by the men and women who experience these severe challenges in their personal and professional lives, including the struggles with a business startup or a business failure, battlefield loss, and terminal illnesses. So it's my vision that you will be empowered from their real-world examples of leadership and discussing these three core areas of our life. A little bit about myself. So I was raised and now returned to retire here in mid-America, specifically in the heartland of Kansas, which is the geographic center of our lower 48 states. And at the age of 17 years old, immediately after graduating high school, I enlisted in the Marine Corps, where I served for 26 years in the infantry reconnaissance, force reconnaissance, and Marine Special Operations. Now they're known as the Marine Raiders. These experiences not only took me all around the globe, conducting very intense training and indescribable combat operations, but they created exceptionally strong friendships, and I endured some very serious bodily injuries, which will be the basis of several of these health topics that you'll be able to visually see some of these being practiced when those episodes come up. So while serving in the Marine Corps selected me to command the very first Marine Special Operations Task Force, named Task Force Violent, that deployed into combat in Afghanistan, where we were falsely accused of multiple counts of homicide. And that led to a nearly year-long criminal investigation, that led to a almost month-long courtroom trial and a very indecisive verdict stating that we acted appropriately instead of traditional ones where they say we were innocent or guilty or dismissed. So that left a large wake that disrupted the lives and the families of those Marines in our command. We'll dive into those in future episodes. But how this will be organized is when you go to the website and you want to listen to the show, each segment will follow a chronological sequence. They won't necessarily build on each other, but there will be short and long form versions. And those long form segments that you want to download as you're driving and hauling it across the country, those will have like a numeric listing such as number 10. And it'll be followed by a description briefly of the show's content. And for those of you that are in the city and have a short commute or a little bit of time, some of those long versions will be broken down for you into more digestible formats that'll have alphanumeric listings such as 10A or 10B or 10C that have one particular topic that they're talking about. And it'll also list next to each one of them the clear title of what that show is talking about. So no matter what time you have, you can listen, digest, and learn from the incredible guests that are coming up on the show. So what are the reasons to have the Go Commando Show? Well, what led me to creating this podcast is a tribute to the Force Reconnaissance Marines and those special operators that I served alongside, who truly were courageous and led distinct lives as they boldly accepted very extreme risks, not of simply wearing the uniform, but they volunteered during a time of war to be a gunfighter and to go face the enemy face to face. And they did that on mission after mission and combat deployment after combat deployment. And these warriors have such valuable experiences, and they, combined with many other guests, will describe how you are able to improve your life with their examples. The second reason for having this is because everybody is busier now than ever before. And your time is your money, so we need to be productive with every amount of time. And that means if we will listen to the mainstream media and their biased and filtered reporting, that's actually what led me to investigate these naked truths about what affects us all that are very important in life. So I will give you your time. Thirdly, eventually, in every single person's life, we will experience life-changing crucibles. Those are the times when our foundations are shook and every core value that we believe in is tested to the core. And as a Marine Commando, we had two axioms that stood out. And one was that no matter how bad it was, or how steep the cliff was, how arduous the weather was, or evil the adversary, it was known to us that it could always be much worse. And what I'm saying in life is the mere fact that we are alive means something significant is good. So never stop counting your blessings. That second axiom is that with leaders, we have vision of where the current situation that we're fighting is in the long-term perspective that enables us to create smart plans that allow our team to win. And that is the Go Commando Show's mission in presenting these raw and naked truths to you. So let me start by telling you a story of a few of these cliffs and abysses that I negotiated. And one of them is from the very last unit that I was serving in the Marine Corps, which essentially was similar to a SWAT team for the Marine Corps that had a task to recapture and secure vital national and naval assets in the region that we were assigned while I commanded that unit was for all of Europe and all of Africa and some areas outside there. And in the less than 2 years that I commanded that unit, we deployed 11 elements to various hellholes across Africa and Yemen and Cuba and parts unknown. And the Marines did phenomenally. I mean, no one could have asked for them to do anything more. And during that deployment, or other deployments going back all the way to the start of the war after September 11th, and if you maintain that operational tempo, whether you're a frontline foot soldier or a commander or an operations officer, for that length of time, there comes a very high toll on the human mind and body and your family. And that's what we will have as the basis of many of these stories, is how this affects the human being. And so in 2014, I retired, and the plan was to head off to business school in Texas and to make a start as a team member in corporate America. Then Well, that well-laid plan would change in a minute. As our oldest sister, Katie, called me when she left the University of Kansas hospital, crushed after being diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. And like she said, she didn't know what to do. And it was clear to me while driving down the highway from leaving my last day at my final duty station that this perfect plan needed to change radically. And I didn't have a clue about what ovarian cancer was, and driving on the highway was not optimal to research this. It had been many years since being near the family, and now our oldest sibling of 6, who we were all very close to, told me without even saying a word that she was scared to die. So I changed course and headed straight home to Kansas, and after 2 days of driving, I saw Katie's health rapidly deteriorate, and it was a blessing to see every member of the family displaying sacrificial love and compassion by doing everything to keep her alive. Katie fought and fought and fought like hell for over 2.5 years until she died in Kansas, surrounded by our family. And this is one thing that many of us will undoubtedly endure if you haven't already. And while this was going on, other things in life continued to go on. And one of those things, immediately after retiring and being there for our sister those 2 years, was what the plan for employment would be. That changed as I searched and applied for over 400 open jobs. And those resulted in 100% rejection notice. So when the allegations are mealy-mouthed, and although they're false, the media runs constant claims that you killed 19 and wounded 50 Afghan civilians, that becomes adverse to basically how you live your life. So that plan also required sweeping change that led me to found a small business and also to mobilize a campaign to attack and destroy the mainstream media's fake news that was printing lies for over 7 years after the courtroom findings. These lies, those damaged the Marines and their families' lives, prevented them from being promoted or delayed their promotions. And the guys who had left active duty, they, like myself, experienced a lot of employment discrimination because of the press making it appear as we were mass murderers. And now it's been over 30 months and over 60 media engagements, and the battle to set the record straight continues, with the incredible help of Congressman Walter B. Jones of North Carolina, God bless him, for sponsoring House Resolution 21 with the purpose to resolve this matter by having the Commandant of the Marine Corps officially state that his Marines were not at fault in the 4 March 2007 ambush in Afghanistan. So that is a battle that's still in progress in the U.S. Congress, and I believe it will ultimately be won. And what's the so what about all that? It is because whether you're young or old, when you are in a dark valley, you are never alone. And when you may have just found out the news from the doctor that completely sucked the air out of your lungs, you're not alone. Or if your boss came in and said, you're done, you're not alone. or when your spouse or kid or someone you love is battling you, walks out on you, or says, "I'm done," you're not alone. When a situation occurs that absolutely devastates you or your entire family or your business, and there's nothing that you could have done to prevent it, you are not alone. Nor when your body or your mind are paralyzed by chronic pain to the point where you struggle to move, you're not alone. These types of crucibles bring us to the point where we realize that the battle is bigger than we are, and we need something bigger than the battle. That's where the normal feel-good sayings, they don't work at all. In spending time on social media, TV, or the internet that consume our lives today, that can't help us either. Nor will the pills, the booze, the drugs, or overeating. Yeah, that may seem like it will make your pain go away, but truthfully, all of those will only bring you further to the bottom. But when you are down, not just a little bit, but completely knocked down to the bottom and totally humbled, that is actually the best spot to be in. Because it is at that point when your ego is gone, your safety net, whether it's cash or whatever, is gone. Then you are able to transform in a real way that can be permanent if you are determined and truly hungry for it. From someone who has impacted that bottom and faced the unimaginable problems with our nation's sworn enemies, bosses, family, shattered health, staring at imprisonment, there is a surefire way to having an amazing life if you are committed to it. So join me and the incredible guests on the Go Commando Show by following us on social media or subscribing on YouTube so you can grow like a commando. Also, when you go to the GoCommandoShow.com website and buy any of your favorite products, it could be absolutely anything, from Amazon or the healthcare supplements, pet supplies, the jams from iTunes, or the hottest ladies apparel from Naked Zebra. You are not only getting the guaranteed lowest price, but you are supporting the Go Commando Show in bringing you the very best guests. So please join our mission in telling these core values in ways that you and I can improve our lives. And until next time, Go Commando.